Oh, you're listening to the Two Guys Talking Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Green Gab Podcast, a place to gab with people rocking it in green. Green homes, green living, green companies. Join Marla Esser Cloos, the green home coach and author of Living Green Effortlessly, Simple Choices to a Better Home, and Tony Pratte, the Director of Builder Relations at The Sound Room. Here are your hosts, Marla and Tony.
On the Green Gab Podcast today at the St. Louis Home and Garden Show, and oh my gosh, we're like running into people left and right.
That's a good thing, though.
I know, I love it. I literally bumped into a friend from my old neighborhood, and she's an exhibitor down here. I didn't even know she was here. I didn't even know they had the business, and they've had it 10 years.
Well, we had one of my old classmates from CBC.
He was here
stopped by the
yesterday.
booth yesterday. Then I saw another good friend of mine from college, him and his wife. I haven't seen them in a few years, and I happen to be over in the new construction zone, and I get, Tony! And sure enough, there's some friends.
This is why we tell everybody to come on down to St. Louis Home and Garden Show, because you can catch us down here. Of course, by the time this airs on podcast, we'll be past it. But today, I just ran into one of my very first podcast people, people from the podcast, before you were even on the show. And this is Cindy and Ron from Hoodle. And I got to do it. Hoodle.
Awesome. I like it.
I can be whacked out because it doesn't matter. I'm old enough now that I don't care
Especially
anymore.
after 4 days of podcasting.
I know. We're getting a little punchy here.
That's okay.
So introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about Hoodle and what's up.
Well, I'm Ron.
And I'm Cindy.
Hoodle is an online website that, it would be online. It's a website, but we're a web portal for people who are building a new home.
So the place to find your home.
Absolutely. It's a place that educates buyers. If someone wants to build a new house, they need to know, well, what are the neighborhoods where I can build? And who are the builders that build in these neighborhoods? And what are the floor plans they specialize in and the price points and kind of what their expertise areas are. So we walk them through the process of selecting a neighborhood, builder floor plan, and get them started in building.
So you have information like what resources are around in the community, what school district it is,
Correct.
how far it is to certain parts of town for a commute, that kind of stuff?
Correct, yeah, and amenities of the neighborhoods and...
Plat maps,
plat
covenants
maps.
and restrictions, architectural review
so all the
forms,
homeowner
lot list.
association stuff too.
We haven't done the HOA stuff, but that's next phase.
I was thinking covenants. I guess that's not necessarily
covenants
HOA, so sorry.
No, that's true. But yeah, it would be a website where, you wanted to build a new house, Tony, you'd go there and punch in, 4,000 square foot ranch, basement, walkout lot on a lake, half-acre lot, and someplace on the map, and it says, here's what's available.
Okay.
Here's the lots, here's the
Total
builders.
online resource.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a great way to do it. That way you've got one place to go, and then from there, are you going to have links to the builders where you can, just click on there, or even if you don't have that, they at least have names and they can just do a quick Google search.
Yeah, no, they've got it all there. And
excellent.
so it links out to, they have complete pages on the website where they can upload unlimited amounts of photos, videos, floor plans, all the stuff that they need to communicate what their product offering is, what they build, how they build. And
Nice.
and then they can create links to their web pages and all of their social media pages. So it just becomes like a hub for somebody who's serious and thinking about building.
That's incredible because more and more people nowadays are starting online.
Oh,
They're doing all their research online
Yep,
before they even walk
100%,
into
I
a
think.
sales office.
We did. When we bought the house, we had a list of 14 houses to go see, and I did all of that research online before we built that list.
It's a smart way to do it.
Well, yeah,
It really
let your
is.
fingers
It
do the
saves you a lot of
walking.
time.
But a lot of people aren't, I think aren't aware that of that very fact, Marla, that I believe there's probably 100% of people at this stage of the game go to the web to do their research.
Yeah.
But when it comes to building, there's just not that much that you can find. You can find a couple builders, a couple developers, but you really can't see what your options are. So that's what we're solving for.
So for our Facebook Live audience, because we're going to wrap it up here, tell them where to find you online so that our Facebook Live watchers have your website.
We are at Hoodle.com.
Okay.
And they can also find us on our Hoodle Facebook page because we have our live stream, which we'll go ahead and put that on our Facebook page.
It's Hoodle, Hoodle, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So think of like your your hood, right?
Your hood.
Yeah, it's kind of
Hoodle
like
in your
Google.
hood?
Yeah.
Google for neighborhoods.
Google for neighborhoods.
Very cool. And if you are listening to us on the podcast, you can reference back to the Facebook Live on March
the
today's
12th.
March 12th on the Green Gap Facebook page. I have to remember which one we're on. So signing out on Facebook Live, but we're going to keep podcasting while we're talking here. So
Awesome.
tell us what's changed. We did when did we do that? Like almost a year ago when we did our first podcast together.
Yeah, it was a
So
year
what's
ago.
new? What's changing? What's happening?
Oh boy! Well, we're here in St. Louis to start the St. Louis market.
Ah,
so this
nice.
is really exciting for us. So later on today, we're gonna go and start looking at the new construction subdivisions.
And we started a couple years ago in Champaign, and last year in Champaign it's just really begun to really blow up where
Good.
a lot of people are hitting it. So now Hoodle is open in Bloomington Normal and Peoria and Springfield, moving up to where
Galena, Naperville.
Galena, Quad Cities, just kind of expanding throughout the state of Illinois. And this weekend we start St. Louis market.
So how do you get into a new market? What's the process?
Well, yeah, it is. The one thing that we really want is to get all the subdivisions, and because that is what I think is the hardest thing to find are the subdivisions, or they're
Okay.
not all listed. So we want to have all the subdivisions where somebody can build a house.
So we started off, we kind of seed the website, whenever we start a new city, and we have a process to very quickly begin to create a directory of every new construction development.
Oh, wow.
If it's got one lot, if it's got 100 lots, if it's in the city, if it's out in the woods, doesn't matter if it's listed or unlisted, it goes on the website. And then other people begin to jump on and add content to it.
Okay.
And then the builders start to get there, and the realtors start to come, and the realtors start to tell the buyers. And so it's a process. Yeah.
That's a lot of investigative work.
Now that is a true labor of love.
But that is a huge time saver because that was
Absolutely.
so hard. I just moved to Oklahoma City a few months ago, and we thought we were going to lease a house, so we're looking that way. But again, we're looking at neighborhoods, and we had certain parameters, and then we ended up deciding to buy a house. Well, we have to go back and do it again. Well, where can we find new houses? And where we looked at some existing houses, but coming to that city after not living there for 34 years is like, oh wow, how do I find all this?
Well, not only this, think about it. Usually when we think, houses in the St. Louis area, we're always thinking just this side of the river.
True.
This is, probably the first resource I've heard of that will probably have both sides of the river,
Right.
Metro, East, and St. Louis all together. So now all of a sudden, if I'm looking for a house, I'm probably not just seeing my St. Louis options, but also my, Columbia, Illinois, or, Belleville, or Collinsville markets I might not even have thought of.
That is true. Our goal is to get them all on the website.
We've found in virtually every place where we go, because we're traveling a lot now, and I don't think that people realize how difficult it is from the buyer's perspective just to find even what are my options on
Yeah.
neighborhoods?
Right.
Which is your
Exactly.
first question.
Right.
You don't start with which builder, you start with where can I build this style, price range, size
Right.
of home, and you just can't find it. And the builders are not really aware in a lot of cases of how difficult that is. They know where they are. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
sometimes they don't know
where they are
where.
either, so.
Because otherwise, that's just a lot of websites for one person to try and
It
sift
is.
through.
Sort through.
It is.
And then, well, what happens, I've looked at these 20, but maybe the 5 I missed are the ones I really need to be concentrating on.
Right, and it's a big decision, right, where you're going to build. And a lot of people, we've talked to so many people that have been in the process of just trying to find a neighborhood for years. It's amazing. And they're like, oh yeah, we've driven around for the last 3 years, Chicago. We're starting to focus in on the ones that really, what are our options. So we're trying to change that, make it simple for them to find all this information, and then help them get into their dream home easier. So
Oh, it happened again.
Dream your home.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
That word has come up so many times while we have been at the home show.
Two big words, dream and experience. So this sounds like a better experience to help search for your dream home.
I like that.
So you guys are on track. That is exactly where it's happening right now.
yeah, we're trying to. A lot of people say this is going to empower the buyer better and level the playing field for everybody, where they can really, for the first time, see everything that's available and make it easier for them to jump into this process easy.
Empower. There's another one of
Yep,
our words,
that's
but
a
that
great-
hasn't come up as much.
That has not.
So I got to ask about Green Gab, though. I mean, you've come a long way since we last talked to you. Man, this is cool.
This is our first, and Ron's pointing to the podcast bug, which if you're listening to this, please go to our Facebook page for the Green Gab, and you can see pictures of the podcast bug because it is
Facebook
super
Lives.
cool. And it is the 1974 VW Bug, and Mike, our producer, technical expert, and all other things, it is his baby. And he actually, when we started working with him to produce and distribute the Green Gab, he just kind of nonchalantly flashes us a poster and says, with a picture of the bug, and says, well, I got this little thing if you think we might be able to do something with it.
Oh, this is cool.
So Tony and I started going, the wheels started turning. And
Home show.
So we ended up collaborating with the home show, the St. Louis HBA, to be here and work together to spotlight the exhibitors and the people that are here at the show. So it's just really been a ton of fun. We've interviewed over 50 companies.
Wow.
And just an amazing opportunity for us to really share what's going on and the wonderful companies that are here sharing how they can help you as a homeowner, a home buyer, a resident, help you have a better experience in your home. So
Right.
it's just been a real blessing, and we've been thrilled. Green Gab's on iTunes now and
Awesome.
available anywhere that you can get your podcast material.
Google Play.
Google Play. You can also
For the Android
find
user.
us on the Green Gab Podcast website, which is greengabpodcast.com. And all of our show notes are there. Matter of fact, show notes from your original episode are up there. We
Excellent.
encourage you to reshare all that information, so you will be hearing from me in a couple of weeks or less to give you the links and let you share that one now and this one when it comes available as well. So
And you got these cool mics. This is
Right,
just
this
like
is
fancy.
all Mike's doing.
This is, you know what? This has got to be the most awesome podcast setup, I think, of any podcasters. This is cool. Everybody else just kind of sits in their closet.
Yeah, but Mike,
you know,
you're
and does
biased.
their thing.
Well, we're hoping to get this out to more events and really share that podcasting is just a great way to share material and content and experiences. And it's so easy to listen to. You can listen to it on, most of us carry smartphones now, so you can listen to it on your smartphone while you're walking the dog,
That
working
is
out,
true.
driving, whatever. I listen to a lot of podcasts in lieu of other content now, and I've really enjoyed getting into the podcast scene. It's just a great way to share with a lot of folks. So.
Absolutely. I think I've become a podcast addict. I listen to them probably every day or every
I'm
couple
with you.
days. There's
with
something.
you.
There's so much good material that's out there.
Well, we've kind of decided it's time to get the podcast out of the closet and help people understand what an amazing venue this is and how it can
Absolutely.
be used to share what your company is all about, your experiences and your stories. We
now
love
you-
sharing that.
So now you just go out and bug people with the.
We do.
With the bug.
Not intended. Tell us how people, if they're looking for a home, tell us what communities you're in that people can log on to Hoodle and find communities. And I know you're expanding.
Mm-hmm. We're in Champaign, Naperville,
Illinois?
Champaign, Illinois, Naperville, Bloomington, Peoria,
Springfield,
Galena,
Quad Cities,
Quad Cities.
Bourbonnais, Frankfurt. Next week be Decatur.
Decatur,
Basically
we're starting Decatur.
every place in Central Illinois. It's
Okay.
just and we think that by the end of the year we'll probably have every new construction development in the state of Illinois on
Whoa.
one website. So now it's a process of learning how to do this better and getting more and more people engaged. Where people are adding to it
And what's
Making
the
it valuable for
eventual
everybody.
goal?
United
Regional?
States,
Nationwide?
nationwide.
yeah.
Every state.
Nice. Nice. So stay tuned wherever you are in the U.S. listening to us. Hoodle will be coming to you eventually.
Right, and if somebody reaches out to us, we now know how to crank up local markets pretty quickly and
cool.
begin to get people engaged and provide value to home buyers in those markets. So if there are people that want to be, help us get it started in other markets and something that would benefit them, we'd be happy to talk to them.
Well, there you go. Great answer. Well, hey, I'm so glad I bumped
I
into
know,
you.
I'm
Thanks
glad
for
too.
taking
It's
a few
good to
minutes
see
and
you.
sitting down with us on the Green Gab. And again, people can find you at Hoodle.com.
Hoodle.com, yeah.
HOODLE.com. Hoodle.com.
Hoodle.
Hoodle. I can be crazy, right?
Absolutely.
You can.
I know, you're laughing at me. Tough bananas.
I'm laughing with you.
That's good. That's good.
Secretly, I'm laughing at you.
Well, hey, this is two
Yeah,
home
it's
shows
great
in a
to
row.
see
This is a
you.
good sign.
Yeah.
This is a good
absolutely.
sign.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Ron and Cindy, for being here and for doing this great work to help homeowners and home buyers find their neighborhood.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Signing out from the Green Gap Podcast. You can find us at greengappodcast.com, on iTunes, and wherever you get your podcast material. Again, greengappodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Green Gab Podcast and for joining us on our own personal Green Odyssey as we change the world one Green Gab podcast at a time. What did you learn about during this episode? Tell us now by visiting our website at greengabpodcast.com. And remember to connect with us via iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter. Links to do all of this are at our website, greengabpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, but more importantly, thanks for rocking it in green.